Hey guys, I'm Julian, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a stab box out of foam. And a stab box it's really what it sounds like. You've got a bunch of foam, and you stab it over and over and over. But a stab box it's a really useful tool to have, and a lot of you might have like holders for your knives, but since I don't have a holder, and probably some of you guys out there don't have holders, I'm going to show you a really easy way to make sure that you always remember where to put your knife, and you always remember where your knife is when you need to use it. So I'm really good at just setting it down on the table and having it roll off the edge like that. I mean, I'll set it down and I'll go to gluing something and oh no, it rolled down, and then I get up to step on it, and then I get up to look for it, and oh my foot! And that kind of thing happens. But you know, maybe it's not that extreme, but we all lose knives. We all we've all probably had that moment where we step on it, or we cut ourselves while we're looking for it. And so this stab box sort of eliminates the hassle of losing knives and then having to find them again, because you always remember, put it back in the stab box. It's always in the stab box. So anyway, it's just it helps me to reinforce positive habits on myself. Now, the first thing that you're going to need is, well, obviously a knife. And then you're going to need some scrap foam. So we're going to go over to my scrap foam bin over here. Excuse the massive planes. Here's my scrap foam bin. I'm going to take a few pieces out. Yeah. Okay. Come back here. And you really want to choose a spot on the table that's not going to get in your way. So if you've got all your stuff over here, put it over here. No big deal. Okay, so you don't need to be this precise when you're making a stab box. It's just like a piece of foam, but I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to tell you guys the exact measurements that I use. And you really want it to be sort of small, because all you really need to do is stick 1 or 2 knives in there, right? You don't have an entire army of knives like you've got an army of planes. So I'm just going to start out, and I can't remember what I wrote in the article, but I'm going to do 2 inches by 3 inches. 3 inches. And then I'm just going to go ahead, this glue string's really annoying me. I'm just going to go ahead and cut out that box. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process 4 or 5 times until I've got about 4 or 5 stacks of foam. And you see I just made that random cut because it doesn't need to be very precise. And you can even just go over like this and cut things if you want to, you know, just mark, okay, right here, right here. Okay, so there we go, 4 pieces. You really want to make sure that it's just going to be enough to accommodate your blade. And that's a little bit over, but that's fine because we're going to be using it. We're going to be setting a standoff for it, and that'll make it perfect for us. So I'm going to go ahead and actually cut 2 more of these, because those are going to serve as our side pieces. And we'll be right back. So we can There we go. Okay, so you notice that I cut another piece of foam, and that's because I want it to actually be 6 pieces of foam thick instead of just 5. So I've got my 6 pieces of foam. I've got my 2 sidewalls. They're going to be right here. And there you go. That's going to be our stab box. So you want to go ahead and heat up your hot glue gun. And I'm going to show you how to do this because there's actually a pretty specific way to go ahead and actually glue this together. You want to do 4 dots on either side. And the reason you don't want to just smother the entire thing is because if you smother the entire thing in hot glue, that means every time you put your knife in, it's going to be stabbing through hot glue, which is not very good for your blade. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a dot right here, bit right here, bit right here, bit right here. And take another one and press it on top. And we're going to repeat that process until we've got one that is 6 pieces of foam thick, or you can just be simple about it and put 2 of these aside for later and just glue the rest of these on. So I'm going to go ahead and glue until in full. Okay, so now that you've done those, and that should be like enough to accommodate your blade, whatever size your biggest blade is, see? Or like that. We're gonna go ahead and take our 2 remaining pieces, like this, and we're gonna glue them onto each side so that we have a little bit of standoff when you put it down on the table, so that even if the knives do go through a little bit, they're not gonna be going into the wood. So, and this is pretty straightforward. We're just gonna go ahead and do a line, 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 and then press it in. You know what, you really don't need to be fancy with how you're gluing this, because it's a stab box. It doesn't need to be fancy. The point isn't that it's fancy, the point is that it serves a purpose. Isn't that poetic? Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and repeat that process on the other side. And then, afterwards, you've got a nice little stab box. And now it's time to decide the big question, where does it go? I'm just going to put mine right here because it's out of the way. It's not going to be like, you know, impeding me when I'm trying to build stuff or make a nuisance. If it's right here and I've got something that's bigger than my cutting mat that I'm trying to build, then it's going to be knocking into it and it's just not going to be useful. So I want to put it in a place that is out of the way and removed. And you know what? I'm just going to be simple with it again. I'm going to use 4 dots and 1 dot for each corner. And then I'm just going to put it down right here. Bada boom. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my stab box. So, really quick and easy tip. Takes you about 7 minutes to cut out, 7 minutes to do, and it will really, really make it much easier and much more simple when you're cutting to remember where your knife is. I'm Julian Waters, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Happy flying.